Thousands and thousands of children are adopted every year, and for most families the process runs fairly smooth.
Yeah.
But as we first showed you in the first part of this special In Search Of, for one Galesville couple, their road to adoption was long and difficult and actually gets worse before it gets better. This morning's In Search Of continues their story.
When you've been with your soulmate since the 8th grade, like Galesville residents Sean and Sonia Schindler, the inevitable questions arise.
Why don't you have family yet?
Usually, they laugh off the inquiries, sparing friends from their difficult reality. They'd been trying for years with no luck, and emotionally the struggle was taking its toll.
I guess it was actually about 9 years before when we were married that we decided that we needed to do something.
The Schindlers turned to adoption and thought they'd found their happily ever after when they were matched with a birth mother. But parenthood was not yet meant to be.
We were at a routine medical appointment. We were told that there was no heartbeat and that the baby had passed away. That nothing prepares you for that. You know you want a child, but when you lose a child, it makes you realize how much you really want a child in a family.
1 year would pass before Sonia and Sean could begin to move forward, this time with an international adoption.
Guatemala at that time they said was fastest way to be matched with a child and bring them home, otherwise there got to be a long wait.
The irony of that statement wouldn't be realized for several months. In fact, at first, things did move along rather quickly.
They asked if we wanted to start seeing pictures. We thought, okay, you know, well, so they sent us 2, and we just fell in love with Kayla. It just, I think Sean called me like 5 times at work the next day and just said, she's meant for us, you know. And so
I knew as soon as I saw her, she was ours, so.
The Waiting Angels Agency out of Michigan told the Schindlers within 6 to 8 months, baby Kayla would be home. But then, everything started to unravel.
April 11th of 2007, we were notified that our agency was shut down for tax fraud and racketeering. So we, at that point, had no idea if we'd ever get to finish, how we would go about finishing our adoption.
In fact, they didn't even know if the baby they'd seen in photographs was up for adoption at all. So they did the only thing they could. Sonia flew to Guatemala to find out the answers for herself.
I remember it was 10 o'clock that morning, and the facilitator brought 2 other babies at that time too, and she's like, Margarita, this is Margarita. Margarita is her Guatemalan name. It's the best feeling. I called Sean and just bawled, you know, and like, she really is here and she's healthy.
But this journey was not over, not by a long shot. To make matters even worse, in October of 2007, a bill was in the works that would freeze adoptions from Guatemala.
So as of December 31st, there would be no more adoptions from between the U.S. and Guatemala.
Suddenly, a ticking clock was looming as well.
We thought for sure that
She wasn't coming home.
Right.
Get the camera!
But never underestimate a mother on a mission. Even though they had just met, Sonia knew one thing for sure.
I was going to do whatever it took.
We were never giving up.
No, never. Never.
I think the Schindlers set some kind of a record for adoption setbacks, because at this point in the story, it's been a year since they first saw Kayla's picture and have been matched with her. They're still at square one. They don't know where they're going from here. And remember, they decided to go to Guatemala because it was supposed to be a quick turnaround with that country. And unfortunately, they do have a few more setbacks, but have no fear. Next week, we're going to bring you the conclusion of this story. We promise there is a happily ever after, so stay tuned. You'll see that next week.